Class of '09, as we mentioned, premieres on Wednesday, May 10th. I'm here with Kate Mara. Here, our radio audience has just returned. We just saw a clip of Class of '09 that you can catch on Hulu, which is available right here on Roku with Brian, Tyree, Henry, an excellent cast. Everybody check it out again on May the 10th, and the new episodes released weekly on Wednesdays. Kate, here on the Rich Eisen Show. What interested you about this show?
Well, honestly, Brian Tyree Henry was attached to it already before I even read a script, and I love him. I think he's such a good actor. So that immediately pulled me to it. And then I read the first couple scripts and couldn't put them down. It is a different role, different world for me than I've ever been a part of.
Do you have to learn about being an FBI agent? You get in
yeah,
that world
we did some training. We had some great old FBI agents sort of helping us out, and they were always available to us while we were shooting. And,
yes.
We learned a lot, and we even went through a physical training, an actor's version of boot camp.
Yes.
And that bonded us very quickly.
And so what can you, I guess, tell folks about the show? I'm trying to...
Not much.
That's what
Can
I'm
you
saying.
tell?
Yeah, no, because I'm watching the trailer and it just seems that there's different time periods for your character.
There's a lot of twists throughout the episodes, and so it's hard to talk. It's one of those things that's hard to talk about without giving things away.
Right.
You certainly learn as you go along with each episode, but it's fun because we all had different. Everyone had a different version of which character they liked to play the most.
Sure.
I love the past stuff because I've always been really interested in how FBI agents actually become agents and like what they have to go through in Quantico. Those stories are the most interesting to me. So I always loved it when we had scenes to do in that world.
It's called Class of '09. Wednesday, May 10th is when it starts on Hulu with 2 episodes. Kate Mara here on The Rich Eisen Show. What is your first football memory, Kate?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
It goes so far back. I don't know if it's a memory or if I made it up, but probably when the Giants were in the Super Bowl. I don't know how old I was. You'll probably be able to tell me if you do fast math.
1990, there's 86 and 90 with the Parcells years.
Yeah, so was it 86 that Whitney Houston sang the national anthem?
That was 1990, right?
Okay, so yeah, that's when
there was the Gulf War and everything going on in the world.
I was 7.
You were 7?
That was at
the Rose Bowl here in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my first memory because Whitney Houston sang and it blew my mind. I didn't watch the rest of the game. I was 7 and
sure. Yeah.
We were making we were cutting out napkins into I don't know, designs. That's what we did for the whole Super Bowl.
The designs were Jeff Hostetler jerseys?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, no, I just remember her singing and then everyone being very excited and crying at the end.
Yeah, that was in Tampa, Florida. That was in the old Sombrero in Florida. Okay, not here at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, because I think then we went to Disney or something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So, at my first year at the NFL Network, we started it in 2003. And we, in 2004, got to go to an owners meeting for the first time. And we got to go inside the owners meeting room. And I'll never forget it. It was just mind-blowing to me. And just watching where the owners all sat. And I saw that the Giants ownership sat next to the Steelers ownership. And I asked, what's up with that? Because somebody told me that's the way it always is. And they said there's a long family history between the two.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned about your family history, that the Steelers and the Giants go way back. And your parents are essentially, Wellington Mara's son, right? And Art Rooney's daughter.
Granddaughter, yeah.
Granddaughter.
Yeah.
That's the deal,
it's pretty wild. I recently did, I narrated a podcast that Michael Strahan produced, and it's all about the history of the NFL. And it was so wild to me narrating this because I actually was talking about my family for so much of the podcast.
Yes.
A lot of it I knew, but a lot of it I didn't know, just details about how it all began. And it was so emotional being able to read all that and, really get a sense of where we come from. And my mom and dad met because of, I think, an owners meeting back in the day. And
Is
then,
that right?
Yeah. And then they ended up going to the same college. They went to Boston College. But I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. My dad hopefully is watching and saying I'm right. But I think they met at an owners meeting a long time ago.
Because again, I was just blown away. Like and it's sort of like a same seats policy at these owners meetings.
Right.
And nobody was going to sit between the Giants and the Steelers.
Yeah, you don't get between family.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It is kind of wild. And so does it blow your mind when you see your grandfather's nickname on the football? Like,
yeah.
Does that?
Yeah. And I have 3 kids. And so trying to explain that to them is pretty wild. It still blows my mind now. Yeah, it's a very, it's a really special thing to be a part of. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Even.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Duke is the football.
Yeah, that's my grandpa. That was his nickname.
Grandpa Wellington. Mara, do you have a favorite Giants game that you've been to? Anything that you recall?
The Super Bowl when we beat the Patriots. That was the first time. That was pretty spectacular.
That was in Arizona.
By
the way, he's a diehard Patriot fan over there, Kate.
well,
So I know.
I know there are a lot of you.
Say it in, Chris.
I didn't play the game.
Okay. I know.
Yeah, who doesn't love an underdog story? An underdog story is it. That's what we were.
Right.
And then we weren't.
I know. Right.
There were tears, and it was so exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I will never forget that.
The helmet catch is just.
I mean,
the helmet catch was something else. And then I was on the field getting ready to work afterwards, and Plexico Burress came right at me. And I thought to myself, when the ball's in the air, I'm like, he's wide open. Like, what's going on here? And it was,
oh, wow, you were right there.
I was truly right there because I had to go to work right afterwards. That was unbelievable. And then, Coughlin and what happened with the team that year, and Strahan, what he since has become coming off of all that. It's truly one of the most amazing stories that I've personally witnessed.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome to be there for that, and to just see my dad who works for the team, and my whole family was just so excited and emotional about it all.
And then emotional, you sang the national anthem, if I'm not mistaken, after the passing of your grandfather, right?
Yeah. My family asked me to sing it then. I still can't believe I ever sang the national anthem at all. I'm not, the greatest singer of all time. It's more of a hobby. And, but those are all my cousins at the time. There's many more of us now. My dad is one of 11 kids, and everyone has at least 3 children, at least.
My God.
wow.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. Whose jersey are you wearing there? Who are you rocking?
I think it
89?
said the age of my grandpa when he passed.
Oh, I see
think.
what that was. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a very special experience to all be there together, for my grandpa's sake.
So do you go to Steelers games too? Or I mean, what's your, is there
not
any,
as often, only
okay.
because I grew up in New York, and so I go back home a lot to be with my family.
Sure.
So we still go to Giants games every year, and the Steelers is just a little bit harder to get to, but
Right.
I am a huge Steelers fan as well.
Well, I mean, come on now. This is
yeah.
is
How
your
could I
family.
not be? Yeah.
I know, and obviously your sister got both last names for the.
No, you know what? So Rooney is now her first name, but both of us have the middle name Rooney. So
you do.
Or I used to before I got married. But yeah,
Right.
it was Kate Rooney Mara. And my sister's name before she was an actor was Trisha Rooney Mara, and she just dropped her first name and went by Rooney. Which now it's funny because it feels like that was sort of always her name. But yeah, it is awesome to have both of those names.
Is it true, Kate, that you have a rider in any contract of any job that you have during the wintertime that you can be free to leave to go to a Super Bowl if the Giants or the Steelers are in it? Because
it's
the
not
word is
really true.
That you missed the Steelers Super Bowl in Detroit because you were working, right? The Super Bowl 40.
Yes.
And that,
And that was heartbreaking.
And then you need a contractual out that you have actually codified it for you. That's not true? That you have that?
It's true that I would make that part of a contract if I was working during that time.
Yes.
I think I was filming the TV show 24, I think, which was one of my favorite shows to watch, and then I got a job on it.
Yes.
And I just wasn't thinking about the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't make it to the game, and it was so it was very emotional to not be there with my whole family, and it was a whole thing. And so then I jokingly said, well, from now on, it'll have to always be in whatever, if I'm working at the time.
Right.
And then, I would do that, but you don't have the same contract for every job you have. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of true, but it's also sort of not true.
So, by the way, 24 is one of my favorite shows, too. Maybe one of the most bingeable shows
I know.
Of all time.
It really is.
And then, so was there any conversation on the set of 24, Kate Mara, and the fact that Jack Bauer never went to the bathroom and always had cell reception? Has that ever been a conversation? Because I just can't believe that for 24.
Yeah, he didn't ever eat.
Nobody ever ate anything.
Are you sure? Like, you never even saw him pop some
power
form
bar?
of a power, like, he didn't
satchel that he had. Everything kind of
Jack Bauer never went to the bathroom, and the phone always worked. Like, what the hell?
That's the
So I guess
beauty
not,
of the
huh?
show.
And he was always running out of time.
Yeah, he's always running out of time.
He's so good.
I know.
He's so good in that
That is one
role.
of my favorite
Kiefer's amazing
lines
in
of all time.
Yes.
So nobody.
I never thought to ask
Nobody.
that.
I just never know. It's like you're just sitting around. Like, really, like Jack never has to do anything that other people have
He's
to do.
superhuman. He's like he's a superhero.
What was it like being on that show?
I was so nervous because I was such a huge fan of the show. I couldn't
Right.
believe I was in what was the room called?
Oh,
CTU.
CTU, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I was in that room and actually playing, someone. I think my character replaced Edgar, who I loved that character. You remember how much he was so lovable? And I was also a psycho on the show, so that was weird. I was like, great, of course I'm playing a psycho that nobody likes.
Maybe were you preparing for Class of 09 without you even knowing what was going on? Not the psycho, but the whole
Oh, I guess I was. Yeah, there you go.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to put the connective tissue together. And what do people bring up for House of Cards and your character and what happened? What's your 2 cents on spoiler alerts on that front? I mean,
well,
it's been
I think
a long
they
time.
did such an amazing job with that, keeping that spoiler quiet.
Yes.
I was convinced that people would just get a feeling or know what was about to happen to Zoe Barnes, but most people say that they were shocked by it. So yeah, they did such a good job of keeping that under wraps, and it was fun. It was really fun to film that. I think we even had like fake pages that we were handing out on the day that we filmed that in the subway, just in case one got left behind or whatever. But I thought they did an amazing job with that.
Right.
And to my character.
Well, I mean, that show put Netflix on the map. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I remember, and I know I'm dating myself here. I remember, sealing up DVDs in envelopes and sending it back to Netflix. That's the way I would rent my movies.
Yeah.
That's what Netflix was. Then House of Cards comes along, and then you could say, I mean, everything that's streaming, that your Class of 09 streaming on Hulu, this show is streaming on the Roku channel, just the idea of putting a television show on a streaming service was so out there.
Yeah, it was the first of its kind.
Period.
It's cool to be a part of that. At the time, I thought, well, I'll do anything David Fincher is a part of because he's a genius, and that's a no-brainer. And I guess I was right.
Yes, you were. You were. And the show is absolutely incredible. And Class of 09 is on FX. Again, it premieres on Hulu as well. Wednesday, May 10th, exclusively on Hulu with 2 episodes. New episodes then released weekly. I guess I'm mandated to ask you before you leave, do you have any desire of wanting to see what the Giants should do in the draft? Do you have any opinion on that front? Or
I asked
that's
my
a
dad,
problem?
I said, what's the deal? Give me some good scoop.
Yes.
And he said that maybe something will happen on draft day that everyone is shocked by.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert.
Can I tweet that out?
Okay.
Tweet that out?
Never know.
Breaking news?
Breaking news.
I don't know.
The Giants might do something crazy, but they also might not.
The Giants never.
You heard it here first.
The Giants never do. The Giants never do anything crazy.
Come
By
on,
the way,
we won the Super. We beat the Patriots. That was crazy.
No, but just crazy, like out of character. Like the Giants and the Steelers are the least crazy organizations one would think in the NFL. And the Steelers, I have a card for my at each draft for each team with the number of draft choices that they have.
Yeah.
And some teams have only 3 or 4 because they've traded them away, or some have 11 because they've been trading like crazy. The Steelers are always 1 through 7. That's it. They hardly ever do anything, and the Giants are the same way. They're straight down the middle.
Copying each other.
What happens if they ever face in the Super Bowl? Has your family ever had this conversation? In any way, shape, or form?
People have asked that, but we just win then, no matter what. Like what?
It doesn't matter. You're definitely going to the trophy ceremony. That's it.
Like, poor us. But I will say, my dad has worked for the Giants my entire life.
Yes.
I grew up at Giants Stadium, and I'm a New Yorker, so I do feel closer to the Giants because that's what I grew up with, and it's my dad's life.
Right.
So I still love the Steelers, and if they played each other, it would be great.
Just a guarantee.
It would just be great.
You're going to get a photograph with the Lombardi Trophy by the end of the night, no matter what.
Right.
Hey, Kate, it's a pleasure meeting you. I'm a fan of yours. I've always wanted to ask you these football questions because I'm just curious. It's just amazing to meet somebody who's been so involved with 2 of the most storied franchises in the sport that obviously not only do I love, but helps put a roof over my head with my family. I'm truly appreciative of you coming here. So
thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. At Kate Mara on Instagram. Kate Mara is here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hulu is the spot to check out Class of 09 when it hits streamers near you, including right here on Roku on Wednesday, May 10th, and then every single Wednesday after that. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.